Details one Apple TV show is quickly gaining even more popularity for the attention it brings to mental health awareness.
And one local professor even applauds the show, as our Fox Carolina's Anna Arender reports. She's also pointing out something else two of its characters could benefit from.
Ted Lasso. The Emmy Award-winning comedy is one of the most watched shows on Apple TV. It centers around an American football coach hired to manage a British soccer team.
Oh, that's curfew. Go, get out of here.
Highlighting his relatable struggles along the way. Assistant psychology professor at Furman University, Dr. Grace Binion, wrote an article on the show.
One thing that Ted Lasso handles really well is mental health. It portrays mental health in the younger generation, so like Gen Z-ish, and the soccer team, I think, well. And it portrays men's mental health. And I immediately saw connections to one of the forms of therapy that I'm trained in.
It's called dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT.
In general, DBT is recommended for people who are really struggling to regulate their emotions and to get along with other people in ways that lead to them feeling good about themselves or lead to fulfilling relationships.
A fast friendship is formed between the two main characters in the show, Ted Lasso and Nate Shelley.
Nate is unsure of himself, he's a little bit insecure. And then you've got Ted, who really believes in people, wants to invest in people, elevate. Over time, I think the same things that make them friends, that made that strong relationship, also bring them into conflict with one another.
I sat down with Dr. Binion as she points out certain scenes in which the dynamics change, and skills learned in DBT could change the narrative.
And so in this situation, I think DBT would be wildly helpful. Ted does a great job receiving Nate's information, but I think that Nate could probably have used something like a dear man to describe why he feels hurt.
Dear man is an acronym for describe, express, assert, reinforce, mindful, appear confident, and negotiate, letting others know what you need from a relationship. Dr. Binion says communication is key for relationships, and without tools to help us express our feelings, our relationships can be strained. In Greenville, Anna Arender, Fox Carolina News.